I look at it and think to myself, people have always underestimated going to Everton as a football team and its fan base. And a lot of people seen it as cowardice. That's what it was. Everyone was up for a fight. That's what was going on in the country. But these took it to a different level, and that's what you was fearful of. This was like going forward. This is the blueprint of how we're going to go to Liverpool and to Everton in the future. They knew from that night, Everton and Liverpool, it wasn't going to be so easy in the future.
Welcome back to the channel, and it's episode 3 in this Manchester United fan culture series, looking through the eyes of Tony O'Neill. Before we get going in episode 3, I'd just like to thank every single one of you for getting involved in episode 1 and episode 2 with your own memories. Don't forget to smash a like on today's video if you want to see more episodes and future series in this Manchester United fan culture. This is an episode I was actually really looking forward to, because when you mentioned this episode, it's the one that you had a smile on your face about telling. We're going back to 1974, the 23rd of April, and Manchester United were beat 1-0 away to Everton. Now, you tell me a little bit about the start of that day.
The start of that day, well, I've been before, got myself out of there safe and sound, but the start of the day, it was nervous. I was at home, my mum wouldn't let me go. I couldn't believe it. Anyway, I got out of the house. Got down to the train station. Everyone for weeks had been talking about this game. I mean, for weeks. United were in trouble, big trouble. We was going down. No two ways about it. I don't even think the result against Everton winning there, if we'd have won, would have mattered anyway. We was going down, but the Red Army was on the move. Tommy Dock's Red Army was on the move. For 12 months since that Leeds game had been to a night game, this is the game I really, really remember, because it was the Scousers versus the Manx, and the Manx were going to take it to them.
Yeah, make it clear in this video that you was 14 years old in the episode 2 against Leeds. Roughly 12 months later now, you're 15 years old. You know, we've already discussed about your gang on your local estate. You know, you're very committed going to the Manchester United home and away games. What was the talk and the discussion about going to Everton?
Well, the lads who I hung around with, they weren't going, but lads from Wythenshawe were going. Lads from every estate was going. This was the talk for the last couple of weeks. We'd played them recently, a couple of weeks before. So it's Everton, and you had to go. United needed your support. Like I say, we believed we weren't going down, but it was inevitable. And going to a night game, very, very difficult. But going to Merseyside for a night game, you are taking your life in your hands, and we all had to go. Everyone was Genie showing up for weeks. I couldn't wait. I just could not wait. That day was just like butterflies, everything else, chatting away. But we knew what we was up against. This was going to be war. And I mean war. We was going to take it to the Scousers. Like I say, I'd been before, and I hadn't seen United take it to him. I'm not saying they hadn't taken it to him, but this is the first time I'd been involved with all the lads what I grew up with in town, go to the matches. I'm 15 now, well, 15 years of age. These kids have known 16, 17, 18. Now you've got all the older lads there as well. And this was going to be war, and everyone had to go. No excuses.
Some people might be a little bit surprised in how you're describing that, going to Everton with, you know, possibly the size of the actual club down there. I think a lot of fans would actually point to that when you're looking at some other clubs around the UK where they look at it like bigger fan bases. People might automatically think bigger fan bases, you know, it's more trouble than what it is at smaller clubs.
Everton weren't a smaller club. Everton were a big, big club. 40 up to 48, maybe 50,000 could get in there. So they were a big club. This was you know, I look at it and think to myself, I've always underestimated going to Everton as a football team and its fan base. This is a very, very, very violent city, very violent club, same as Liverpool, but they all stuck together. When you went there, you wasn't just taking on Everton in the streets, you was taking on Liverpool in the streets. Merseyside was waiting for anyone who thought they could go there and take it to them.
Yeah, we've discussed about football specials in the first episode, episode 2. You've also mentioned this is a night game as well, and you've already got a smile on your face as all there's more danger at the night games as well. And, you know, take us all through what happened that day getting to the train station? How many football specials were put on for that game?
Well, there was 3 football specials put on, and everyone understood. You know, the rules are the lads are getting on the first train. They all knew that. There's no more going there, getting picked off, getting robbed, getting slashed. We all took the first train, and everyone who was a straight member, they knew, stood back. We filled that train. We filled it, and we could not wait. Every lad who was up for it was on that first train and was taking it to. They knew the rules. That first special was packed, and I mean packed. I think even it might have even been overloaded, but the police weren't bothered.
Any estimates on how many was roughly on that train?
Oh, there was hundreds, 500, 600. There's no messing about. That's how I seen it. I might be wrong, but that's how I seen it as a 15-year-old. Hundreds and hundreds of lads, all eager. You know, some had finished work, got the steel toe cap boots on and all that. That was the rage. That was what had been going on for quite a while. I mean, the atmosphere, the tension and everything, but also the giddiness. We knew what was going to happen. We knew the Scousers would be waiting for us when we got there, and they were going to be in for a shock.
By the sounds of it, everyone was giddy on the train, going there in the first train anyway. So when you actually arrived there at Lime Street Station, what was the atmosphere like? What went on?
So straight off that train, the noise was tremendous. We wanted them Scousers to know we was here, and we just charged through Lime Street like you wouldn't believe. Warriors. That's how it felt for me as a kid. Warriors. Just charging out all together. Everyone was going to stick together. We didn't know what was there, but we knew they were there and waiting. Now, as a night game, to be honest with you, when you go around the country, and I've been around the country, you don't normally get people waiting for you. You might get a few people, but when I come out of that train station, my God, they were there to the right. And I always remember, people might be able to know the name of these flats, top left-hand corner as you're coming out of Lime Street, you turn right, there they are, right across the road, big flats. It's like a circle, and it was like the pits. It was like, I mean, what was going on in Liverpool at the time, like most cities, slum clearance was going on, and this was proper slum, and they were all in there. But to our right, my God, there was gangs of them, 50, 30, things like that. Well, we were straight up the road and straight into him, no messing about. When I say straight into him, they just took one look when we got near him, and they were off. They were off. But all this lot, and I mean, there was hundreds of them in this like big block of flats, and it was like, it was like the pits. I mean, it was just like dirty, dark, and there they were, hundreds of them come running out of these flats. Well, we were straight across, straight up and at them. Police was there, battling with us, battling with them. We were straight over and just backed them right off, and away they went. And we just like, to us, that's a victory. I mean, anyone at the time going to Liverpool or Everton, they knew if you backed the Scousers off, especially that early in the day, that was a victory. And most people would have put up with that and said, right, we've been there, we've backed the Scousers off, that's it. Don't matter who you are, you was not backing this special off. And I've seen it before, where other teams have just had special trains, and it's very hard for the waiting people to actually do anything about it. But we backed the Scousers off. A few bricks and all that were coming our way, but off we went. The police were there with us, not many, escorting us all the way. For me, as a lad, we'd just done the Scousers. We'd just done the Scousers. But in reality, we hadn't done them. It was a long night. That was the first skirmish, but it was a victory. And most people in later years and that, they would look at that as a great victory, and that's the way it is. As a young lad, I've been around. I knew what was going on around the country. Violence everywhere. I'd been involved in it. Lots of us had been involved in it since like the last 12 months, and it had got really, really tough. That was a victory, but there was more to come.
Okay, you've just gone through some detail in that. I take it then, the Scousers have been scattered all over the place by the sounds of it. Is that right in saying so?
Yeah, scattered.
Yeah,
backed off, shall I say. They were backed off, scattered in some instances, but overall, they kept the distance now. didn't come near us.
I take it you're then looking at marching towards the ground then. With that first special, everyone's then together. I'm sure one thing that's in your mind, and a lot of away fans, even to the present day, when you do go to away grounds, the last thing you want to do is go down any side streets. You want to stay on the main road.
Going down the side streets in Merseyside, that was virtually a death sentence. He was getting robbed, mugged, everything, slashed. These are vicious people when they catch you. Unprecedented, really, when I look back at it all. The amount of times visiting supporters were caught down side streets. You knew not to go down them, but it didn't matter to this lot. You go down, you're just getting it because they were all there. And from the march from the city centre to this stadium, it's a long, long walk, and there is opportunities to be captured. Not captured in this mob, okay? This is a slum clearance. Half of it, from the walk to the stadium, half of it had been just knocked down in a slum clearance, and there is just bricks and rubble everywhere, every yard you take, and them bricks often come flying over at us while we're on the march and that. But what a sorry place at the time. What a sorry march, but a frightening walk if you was on your own or in small groups, but not for this gang. This gang was massive, and it was solid, and it all knew the rules and knew what to do. So there was no moving it.
Would you normally have waited for the other two special trains, or do you wait for them when you get to the ground? Were they just like the normal straight members, so to speak, on the other specials?
No, there's no waiting. You're off to the ground. You know, you couldn't wait even if you wanted to. You was marched to the ground. You was escorted to the ground, and that's what we did. We got to the ground. Not many Everton. We stayed out hanging about because we knew they were going to come. They were going to try and pick you off, but we stayed out there basically as like a guard for any other fans what was coming, for like if they travelled on a coach or they were got in a car or anything like that. And also the other specials, we wanted to see how they were, and eventually they came and they were fine. But what was happening, you had little pockets of Scousers turning up. And when I say Scousers, I mean, on the streets, you're taking on Liverpool, you're taking on Everton fans, okay? They all come out. When Manchester United come to Merseyside, there is no young lad or anyone who looks for trouble staying in their house. They are coming out and they are going to try and get you. They don't sit in the house. They know the enemy's here, and we are the enemy. We're the number one enemy, and they're all out. So little gangs were turning up, but they were getting cleared off because of everyone what was there. Getting into the ground, no problem at all. But little skirmishes, that's all what really happened before the game, because we was the mob, and we just took over, and we concentrated ourselves in and around where United supporters were going in the ground.
Some people might be surprised in what you've just described there, that it's not just Everton fans, it's Liverpool fans as well. Is that where you get a sense, or they would actually team up when the likes of Manchester United come to town?
This is my knowledge of how the conversation, every time you go to Merseyside, when it was always talked about, they was always together. It's not like it is now. This is Merseyside. They were all together. My conversations, someone out there might just turn around and say, oh, that's a myth or whatever. Hey, look, I can only tell you how I see it and what I heard, my conversations. This is Liverpool and Everton on the streets. Now, I'm not talking about inside the stadiums, okay? I'm talking about on the streets. That is a different game altogether. For me, it's Merseyside you're taking on.
You're inside the ground, a few skirmishes along the way. So inside the ground, what's the atmosphere like there? What's the tensions like?
Well, we're behind the goal. It was like on our left, on our right. It was just like, they're just like going at you, which is, par for the course. Seen it loads of times. It's no problem. We do it when we're at Old Trafford. So, you expect that. No pitch invasions, no nothing like that. A few things being thrown both ways. That's just the way it was. The atmosphere was horrid. They know United are up for it. United have took it to them, and they're not happy because they've been backed off and we're claiming a victory. And they're just looking at it and they're fuming. I know exactly what's coming after the game. They want retribution, and they're not going to let us get away with it. But we also know, right, what we have to do.
was beaten that game as well, 1-0. I think it was a late goal as well by Everton, I think round about the 90th minute. So they'd have been in buoyant mood after that, securing a victory against Manchester United. Take me through what happens then once that game's over, the final whistle goes.
Well, I was depressed, me. I was depressed because I knew we was going down. But then lots of United fans were depressed, but we all knew what we had to do. Gates open, and we've got to be there at the front. We knew the rules going there. We knew what we had to do. And whatever happens, and this has always been the motto, go out there and whatever happens, happens. Take it to him. Don't be hiding. Don't be sneaking off, especially in Merseyside. Doesn't matter if it comes on top. You've got to take it to him.
The sounds of it and what I'm listening to, it'd be more dangerous if you actually tried to get off in your own little groups.
Correct.
Where it's more safer actually staying with the larger groups.
Yeah, well, the big problem about staying together here was coming out the ground, because either side of you, when you come out, they were there. Because you come out and you're only going forward. When the Everton supporters come out, they're coming out and they're surrounding you. It's just the way the configuration of the ground and the roads are. You was trapped virtually. You expect to be attacked and done in. You're very lucky to come away intact, to be honest with you, especially at Everton and the way the ground was, because they just surrounded you and they filled the street in front of you also, and you had to go forward. There was no going to the left, no going to the right, no going backwards. And the good thing is we was all there and we was going forward. Now, I'm under the impression we're walking back. Some people under the impression it's the buses, but the coaches are in a different place. But the good thing what happened is that we came out and they were there and they came at us. Police were in the street. They were battling us. We was fighting back. It felt like 10 minutes, but we were sort of stuck in the road. You couldn't go forward. Like I say, it felt like 10 minutes, but in reality, it was probably a couple of minutes. But the police had battered us, battered them, and created the gap so we could go forward. And forward we went, right alongside the park, on the pavement, buses all along there. So for us to get there, that was
another victory.
That was a victory. That was a victory. But like everyone's smiling, bouncing, happy, but like
a few moans.
Oh yeah, there's a few moans. There's always a few moans, right? But they're fuming because we're still intact. And to be intact after being virtually surrounded was another result. In the world of like what was going on, that was a result. I'm under the impression we're going to march, and I was at the front, not right at the front, but I was with the first group at the front. So walking along alongside these buses, go to the first bus, and then suddenly everyone stops. There's little bits going on in between the buses and at the back, little skirmishes going on. You still had to be wary of your own safety in that.
Going towards the train station, you're going to go back there as a mob, stick together and just march back down to the train station.
Well, you say it's so easy, marching to the train station. No. You're hoping to get to the train station. That's what it is. And you've got to go down Scotty Road, there's long roads and everything else like that. You're going to get ambushed. You're going to get attacked. Everyone knows it. Everyone knew it. So it's not like, we're on a walk to a train station, right? You're taking your life in your hands. But I thought that's what we was going to do and take whatever come. We knew we was going to get bricked. But I thought, as a 15-year-old, the group what was there was strong enough to stay together. But lessons are always learned, and I learnt my lesson, stood there listening to United fans.
What was that lesson though? Was the arguing amongst themselves or having a discussion of whether to get on the buses or walk and get bricked, in your words, back to the actual train station?
It's the indecision. What happened? And there was older Reds there, like who you look up to. And some are shouting, let's get on the buses. Some are shouting, no, come on, we're going this way. And that went on for too long, to be honest with you. It went on for too long. And then people were starting like worrying and what's going to happen and all that. And then we was having to listen. Now, I wasn't happy. I wasn't happy at all, having to listen to people disputing what we're going to do. I thought we all knew the rules. I thought we all knew we was going to march back.
And stick together.
And that's where, unfortunately, it broke down. And that's where the start of the carnage came. This front group starts walking. I'm walking with them. I presume everyone else is coming, but that didn't happen because of the indecision. Lots of people, and understandably, quite happy to get on the buses.
Why is that? Is that because of what had happened early on in the day? You know, coming out from Lime Street Station, you know, coming out after the ground as well, holding off the Everton fans, Scousers as well, Liverpool fans. They just see that as a victory. Let's enjoy the day and get back home safely as we can.
Look, the reality was, right, walking back is absolutely stupid. And the daftest thing you can do in the dark at Merseyside with virtually no police, and I mean virtually no police, okay? And you want to take it on. You're going to get ambushed. How many times you're going to get ambushed, I don't know. I've gone along with this group, unknown to me. Most people are getting on the buses. I'd say there's about 100, you know, I might even think 150, but I'm marching. I'm confident, me. Oh, I'm bouncing. I'm on my toes. Everyone around me is bouncing. They're on the toes. And we're just walking along Stanley Park. And then that was the nightmare of all nightmares.
People waiting to ambush you, then I take it.
Oh, yeah, they were waiting to ambush. We was expecting it. They were on the other side of the road as well. That was fine. If they came across, we'd have a little go. But as soon as we got to the end of the park, you've got the side streets. And as soon as we touched, going straight, look to your left, in this side street, there they all were.
Who?
Liverpool fans.
All right, okay.
Liverpool fans just come screaming down the side street straight into us. Oh my God. I just bottled it. What's going on here? This is a nightmare. They had the street and they were running down it straight into us. And people just like bottled it straight away. There's no disgrace in it whatsoever. You was outnumbered. You're in the dark. You was ambushed and they caught us. I've just legged it straight down. Couple of lads with me. Other people are just like disappearing. Most people probably run back towards the coaches because they were just straight down there. It was just a few 100 yards. Probably that's what happened to some of the people. But I didn't look behind me. I didn't look behind me to see whatever was going on because this was now your life. You also know you're getting robbed, you're getting slashed, you're getting beat up. You're just getting done in. There's no mercy here now, okay? Especially after us backing them off and little skirmishes winning them up until this point. So they were out to get you and they were everywhere. But I just carried on running, didn't look back. It's every man for himself again.
Before we go forward, I want to just go back a little bit. You talk about getting slashed, and there is a bit of a reputation out there, Liverpool fans, possibly Everton fans as well, you're going to tell me in a second, about slashing away fans, you know, the usual word Stanley.
Yeah, well...
So, is that true?
Yeah, of course it's true. Everyone knows it. Every away visiting supporter there absolutely knows it. It's all there. History tells you that. It's all written. There's all pictures, everything of what these Scousers do. And that's why I call them vermin. The people who are out there doing it, the gangs and all that, the vermin. That's not me talking about Liverpool or Everton fans, people who know or anything are vermin. You know, I've got names and that in my phone. But they were vermin and a lot of people seen it as cowardice. That's what it was. You know, everyone was up for a fight. That's what was going on in the country. But these took it to a different level. And that's what you was fearful of. No side streets for me. Straight down the road.
So you straight down the road. It's by the sounds of it, episode 3, you're still, another occasion, you're fearing for your life. Take it, you're on your toes here, you're running. Where are you running to? What's the direction? What's going on?
I'm just running straight. Well, I say straight. What I'm having to do is zigzag because these people try to trip you up all the way. And then you just think to yourself, you can't get tripped up once you go down. I know the couple of lads what are with me, they're not going to stop. They're not going to look round, come back and help me. But I'm going to do the same because that's the rules. Once you're down, you're finished, especially when there's only a couple of you. But the roads, the hills, the fields, the housings, the derelict houses, these bricks coming at you. You know, these people try to pick you off and everything. And I'm just running for my life. And the funny thing is, while I was running, at one point, my shoe come off. I had to kneel down, put it back on. But while I was doing it, I actually laughed because I just seen the lads, a couple of lads I was with. They were way off in the distance, like. But I soon caught up with them. Don't you worry about that. No one was catching me that night. I don't think anyone was going to catch the 3 or 4 of us anyway. It was just madness. all the way. And I'm telling you, that is a long, long distance from Goodison Park to Lime Street. And I run all the way and didn't stop. And I wasn't out of breath.
What make trainers were they? Any Nike Air Jordans back there in the day? What?
I think they were Umbro or something, you know what I mean? But no, I got all the way flat as well, but got there. But it was so dodgy. They were everywhere. They were everywhere. You could see gangs of them and everything. And like, they're either coming across the road or they're in the road and we're having to cross the road. But it was an escape and we got there. Absolutely. So relieved to get to Lime Street. But I got away with my life. And I mean, got away with my life. Maybe some people didn't. I didn't have any reports of people being slashed or robbed or anything. And I think that was mainly because they kept together. And I think when I look back at it, I think coming out, and it was a tradition with United, come out and face it. But what it was also, when the shout went up, when the trouble come, anyone who wanted trouble, they sort of like directed to the trouble. What it did, those who didn't want trouble, the away supporters, United fans, they were able to get off. So I didn't hear of anything normally at the coaches, because what normally happens at the coaches is by the time you get into Merseyside, whether it's Liverpool or anything, you've no windows anyway. I mean, they just used to get bricks and everything. I mean, they had their gangs plotted up on the East Lancs. They were all already in place. Any coaches come, they were bricking. But that night, the fans what were on the coaches, they got back safely. But that's what was going on with United over the last 12 months since they'd been to Leeds away. We took it to them. We shown ourselves. Didn't always come out on the best side of it. But the thing is, that's what you had to do. We took it to them. And that night, a lot of United fans who stuck together actually got away with it. Even though it was carnage and chaos, by the time everyone got to Lime Street, it was a result.
That indecision that you talked about when you were all at the coaches, the buses that were laid on to take you back to Lime Street. What was your thoughts then about that? Have you ever thought about that since then, about that indecision that was made that day?
Well, you couldn't have that again. Other people were talking about it, lads my age, a little bit older. You couldn't have that again. But what had been going on for like 18 months, a group within a group was developing, and people who were my age, a little bit older, we wasn't having that again. And like I say, when I was at Leeds, you know, you're learning lessons all the time, and being at the back, that's not the thing what you have to be, where I was at Leeds. And being at Everton there, I was at the front, and I wanted to be and make sure I knew and understood what was going on. Well, what I understood and gone on, and lots of groups had gone through this, different teams. You had infighting. You come to Old Trafford and, you know, Salford would be fighting Wythenshawe, but that was dying out. That was dying out, but lots of teams had that.
Why was that? Can you take me through that? What was it? Just about territory, you know, tribalism, where you're from, kind of thing? Or?
Yeah, it's where you're from. Plus, in the early days, a few years before and that, you didn't really get that many away supporters coming to Old Trafford, and I would say the same around the country in different times, different games. So people took out their own animosity against each other. But that had died out, not just with us, it had died out with others, because now all these gangs, and especially on Merseyside, they all formed on a match day. They all formed, they all joined up together, and at any dispute what they'd had, they joined up. That's why I'm saying to you, when you went to Everton or Liverpool, on the streets, they all joined up. They were all there, and it didn't matter which team they supported.
Yeah, so on the day of that game, you've got back to the train station with both shoes on. Both trainers on.
Both shoes on, safe and sound.
Yeah.
Happy as Larry.
Yeah. He stood outside the train station. Did you say, was you waiting for the buses to come?
No, well, what we did, you just know Scousers are going to be hanging about. And what I was surprised at, there wasn't big gangs of Scousers. There was little groups of Scousers. And there was a few United fans on Lime Street. We're having to like move around, get rid of them, show them that we're going to give it them. Do you know what I mean? And at the end of the day, we've come out of Lime Street on the front, and the buses started coming, and obviously through a conversation I knew what they felt, because when they got off they thought we were Scousers. And they panicked. They thought all the Scousers were here waiting for them, and as it happens, it was just us United, so they were made up, but they all got back safe and sound. I think what happened to us might have took the eye off the ball for some of them. and the buses got back. And to be honest with you, when I look back, the buses weren't smashed up or anything like that. But I've seen that on loads of occasions going into Merseyside. But this time it wasn't. I think they were quite happy because they thought they'd done everyone. They thought they'd done everyone. But they'd done the firm what was eager. The rest of them behind made the right decision going forward. That'd never happen again.
Yeah. Take me through the whole experience of that day. Even if you want to go back to when you actually left Lime Street Station that day to get back home. Any more memories?
All laughing.
Yeah.
All laughing and joking. Because here we are, as a mob, all safe. No one's cut. No one's badly beaten up. We've got a few bruises and all that, a few pants what had been ripped where they'd been on the floor tussling and all that. But we're all generally all made up. This was like going forward. This was like, how can I say it? The blueprint. This is the blueprint of how we're going to go to Liverpool and to Everton in the future, because we knew we could take it to him. It just needed a little bit more organising, whether it was on coaches. We used to go on coaches, go on the train, but we knew we could take it to him. And going forward, we did take it to him, didn't always win. They knew from that night, Everton and Liverpool, that we could take it to him and that it wasn't going to be so easy in the future.
So amongst your own fan base, Manchester United fans, you talked about discussions and we pointed out that indecision there back at the buses coming out of the ground. Now that could have cost a lot of people that day, the waiting around and groups separating from each other. One walking as a group, the others getting on a bus. Was there also talks then amongst you in your age group with your friends about how we're going to do things differently going forward?
I think that evolved because people did talk about it, and as we went on, Tommy Doctor Adam, it was just everywhere. Then we've hit the second division, but what we are, we're all young lads, and we've evolved our group, and then we've become like, and people will remember this, people started using service trains and all that, and we got there, and we were now sort of like, I wouldn't say took over, but within the space of 18 months, 2 years after that Everton, we was the main firm. We was the lads. This is what we had to do. We knew the score. We had to protect ourselves, and we couldn't rely on anyone else. Even though the older lads were still with us and everything else like that, it developed, and they understood because we was always there. We was there against Everton. We was all up for it, and unfortunately, indecision cost us.
Just overall, just talking about Everton specifically here, and recollections of Everton fans, was it always a dangerous place to go? Even after the 1974 game that you went to, leading up to the very last time you ever went?
This is where I come out with the vermin bit. They were well known, and people out there will tell us what they were known for. And Everton had Stanley knives, and for me, vermin. Absolute vermin. And that went on for 30 years. 30 years that went on for, maybe more. Okay, other people out there might tell me differently, but I'm telling you, that's why I call them vermin. But the Everton were mainly the stabbers, the slashers. That's how I've seen it. That's what I've come across. I've been a victim of it, where I've been chased, bladed in the side streets and all that. I've been a victim of it a couple of times. And I know loads of people what have been victims of it, where they've got away with their lives, and I've known people who have actually been slashed.
Okay, I think we'll end it there. Anything more to say?
No, I just look back at it and think to myself, when I hit Merseyside that night, I just looked at it, I looked around, and it was a slum clearance. I mean, slum clearances were going on in Manchester, but the bricks, they were everywhere, and that was there for years. But what a long walk, and I took many, many walks from Lime Street to the ground and back, and every time there's always something going on.
In Manchester, you look at Liverpool with all these slum clearances, and what was going on in actual everyday society was being brought into the football and the football fans' away culture and all that sort of stuff.
It was an enjoyment. It was an enjoyment. That's how everyone looks at it. It was an enjoyment, something different, travelling around the country. But going to Merseyside, they enjoyed it. They were always out. And, you know, I look at Merseyside at the time, and it had its big social problems at the time. Yes, Manchester had its social problems, but my God, Liverpool were going through it. I mean, they had their racial tensions and everything else like that, and they had their big gangs. I think they had more gang culture problems because of what was going on in their society than what Manchester did. We eventually got it together, and I do believe that night was the first time we actually took it to the Scousers. And like I say, it's what I seen. It might have been took to them before, and I just don't know about that.
Yeah, just your first time in seeing what you have done. But yeah, we will end it there. I'd just like to thank you all for joining us today. Like we mentioned earlier on in the video, episode 1 and episode 2, tremendous amount of feedback coming back to us of your own memories. But the most important thing as well, do you want us to carry on doing more series of the Manchester United fan culture? Let us know by smashing that like button. Thanks as ever for joining us, and we'll see you again soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much.